When I was 12, I replaced my babysitter with the guy who stole her car. To be fair, my babysitter Anna was the worst person my parents could have hired. Instead of picking me up from school like she promised, she'd make me walk home alone. And when we were at home, she'd make me stay in my room the entire time, saying that the living room and TV was for adults and not kids like me. I wasn't even allowed to go outside because she didn't want to supervise me while I played. And when I told her I was hungry, she'd roll her eyes, hand me a packet of ramen from the cupboards, and tell me, the microwave works just fine. But the worst part wasn't the neglect. It was how she'd treat me like I was a burden. You're so needy, she'd say when I asked for help with homework. No wonder your parents need a break from you. And after months of that, I was starting to believe her. Then one afternoon, Anna got a call from her friends asking to hang out. She grabbed the keys to my parents' car without asking and told me to get in. You're coming with me. I'm not leaving you here to snitch. I sat in the back just quietly staring out the window while she blasted terrible music on the radio. She pulled up to a gas station and parked near the entrance. Stay here. I'll just buy some Doritos and cigarettes, she told me before slamming the door shut. So there I was, sitting in the back waiting when suddenly the door flew open. Joseph, a guy in his 20s, jumped in, started the engine, and slammed his foot on the gas, driving us out of the station. I should have screamed or called someone, but I was too shocked. Miles away from the gas station, he noticed me. Joseph glanced back at me through the rearview mirror and his eyes went wide. Oh, geez. You scared me, kid. Wait, don't panic, he told me in a panicked voice. I'm not going to hurt you, I promise. I just need to borrow this car for an hour, then I'll bring you back. He fumbled with the AC, making sure I had enough air. He switched the radio to a pop rock station. Is this okay? Are you comfortable? Do you need anything? He asked. I blinked at him. I'd never had an adult act so worried about me before. It was oddly calming. While we drove, he talked about a lot of things. His dog, his family, how he needed a car to go to his job interview. If I get this job, I won't have to sleep on the streets anymore. Soon, he pulled into a parking lot outside of an office building. We walked inside together, and he asked the receptionist to take care of me. Before he left, I handed him a piece of candy from my pocket and wished him luck. He smiled, patted my head, and disappeared inside. 20 minutes later, Joseph came back out looking defeated. Did you get the job, mister? He smiled softly and shook his head. Let's get you home now. Thanks, kid. On the way home, he passed by McDonald's and used the rest of his pocket money to buy me a burger. When I told him I was still hungry, he laughed sadly. Me too, but I'm tapped out. That's when I had an idea. I told him my parents wouldn't be home for hours and that he could make us food at my house. He hesitated, but eventually agreed. Back at my place, he turned the entire kitchen into a food wonderland. Anything I wanted, Joseph made it. Pancakes, grilled cheese, pasta, chili cheese dogs. He grinned, watching me drool at the smells. My family ran a diner. I've been cooking since I was your age, he explained proudly. What happened to the diner, mister? I asked. Shut down. But once I get a job, I'll open it up again, he smiled. I'll be your first customer, I told him. We ate together at the kitchen table, then played video games in the living room, and did all the things I wanted to do that my babysitter Anna always said no to. But just as we were back in the kitchen eating dessert, the front door opened. My parents walked in and froze. Oh my god! My mom screamed, frantically pulling out her phone to call 911. I jumped up and grabbed the phone from her hands. Wait! I shouted at the top of my lungs. I spoke fast, explaining everything to them. How Anna took the car without permission, how Joseph accidentally took me, how he brought me to his interview and used his last money to feed me. I told them how Anna never cooked for me or let me do anything, and how this stranger treated me better in 3 hours than she had in 3 months. My parents stood there shocked, looking between me and Joseph, who was nervously standing with his hands up. My dad told him to sit down and start talking. Joseph explained the whole story while my mom called Anna. I watched her face go from confused to angry as Anna admitted she took the car without permission. My parents exchanged a look. Then my dad asked if he had a phone number. Joseph gave it to them, confused. A few days later, my parents called him. They'd fired Anna and asked if he'd be interested in babysitting until he found something permanent. He became my babysitter for 2 years until he had enough money to reopen his family's diner. It's still running today, and every time I visit, we joke about that crazy afternoon.